the heel correctly. The dog now wants to be in heel position, and you're going to have trouble getting them into front position when that is required in your work. So, to teach the front, the first thing you have to do is to get your dog out of the heel position, which is usually pretty easy to do. Okay. You can throw a treat, for instance, and there you are, your dog's away. Front. When you're teaching the front, again, you're going to need your dog, your treats, and a clicker if you're using a clicker. And you do not want to start by teaching the dog, Tessie, front, to front from a stay, because your stay may not be that solid yet, and you want to be sure that the dog knows the front as a specific position as they do the heel position. So, atta girl, front. At this point, you're going to be wanting to somewhat lure the dog into position with the treat, which you can have in both hands because you don't want them learning to go to one hand or the other. Or you can use the one hand and then the other, just sort of back and forth it. Tessie. Front. Tess, front. The other thing you can do, Tess, front, is to spit treats at your dog, but that requires both for you to be able to spit pretty well and your dog to be the right height. You can teach your dog to be a little further back than you want. Front. Bringing the treat in like that in front of you will bring the dog into you, but you don't want them to totally, come here, lock onto your hands. So you need to kind of come up with a variety of ways to deliver the front treat. Hi. So you can have the dog in heel position and call them front, front. Or you can have the dog in front and back up, front. Your dog's naturally going to want to follow you. Or you can send the dog away from you with it throwing a treat and then call them back. Tess, front. Throwing the treat's a really good way to get a lot of reps without having the dog get bored, because that's pretty much a fun game for them. Go get the treat. Oh, you lost it. Once your dog knows the front, which really doesn't take that long, then you can start putting it into your puppy push-ups too. So you can say down, sit, front. Yes. That's front. Oh, good. Getting your dog to come to the front. Tess, heel. Excellent. From a stationary position takes a while. Tess, front. And I wouldn't expect it at first, but it's a good practice for them. Front. Do make sure that the dog sits in front of you when you're giving the reward. They will probably, I kind of went over that, skipped over that part. They will probably sit just because you've trained them to sit, and that's an automatic default position for them. And also because you're holding the treat here, that's going to make them want to sit. But if they don't encourage this, dog is overtrained on the down. Eventually you're going to want to be able to send the dog further away from you, or just to be further away. You can make quite a game out of, sending the dog further away from you and then calling the front. Tess, front. Front. Tess, front. Yes. Oh, hit you in the nose. So, Eventually, when you have a solid stay on your dog, which you were also presumably working on, and your dog has learned the front, then you're going to be able to teach the formal front to good girl. Stay. Tess, front! This shouldn't be too hard. Tess, come on! Because at this point, basically, the dog does know where front is. And it's another good position to get into, isn't it, Tess? Good girl. And you can help by moving your feet to help your dog find front, but that is something that you're going to need to eventually get out of. So try not to do too much of it, because you don't want your dog to think that you have to move your feet for them to find front.